There are nights when you lie in bed scrolling through your phone at 2 a.m. and suddenly realize something that hits deeper than you expected. The people who used to struggle more than you are now doing better than you. The ones who once said, "I have no idea what I'm doing with my life," somehow seem to have everything figured out now. Stable jobs, relationships, direction, a future. And you? You're still here, still confused, still trying to survive days that all feel exactly the same, still feeling like the whole world is moving forward while you're somehow stuck in place. And the worst part isn't failure. It's the feeling that life is quietly leaving you behind. You know what's strange? The older we get, the less we talk about how much we're hurting. Not because we're okay, but because some emotions are almost impossible to explain out loud. How do you tell people that you feel like everyone else's life started, except yours? How do you admit that every time you open social media, you walk away feeling smaller than before? So instead, you stay quiet. You keep posting normal things. You keep replying with, "I'm good." You keep pretending you're just tired, when really, something inside you has been slowly collapsing for a long time. And honestly, this feeling has become terrifyingly common. We live in a world where people spend hours every single day consuming other people's lives. Their success, their glow-ups, their relationships, their vacations, their achievements. Someone just bought a house. Someone else got engaged. Someone moved to another country. Someone started a business at 22. Someone claims they finally found themselves. Meanwhile, you wake up exhausted and wonder why even basic things feel so hard lately. And that's the dangerous part. Feeling left behind doesn't happen when you fail. It happens when you watch everybody else move forward while you feel emotionally frozen. After a while, even opening your phone starts to hurt. Not because you hate people, but because every happy photo quietly reminds you of everything you think you're not. You stop genuinely feeling happy for others sometimes, and then you feel guilty about it. But the truth is, you're not a bad person. You're just emotionally exhausted. There are days when you don't even feel sad anymore. You don't cry. You don't get angry. You just feel numb. You sit in front of your laptop for hours, unable to focus. You tell yourself you'll change tomorrow. You'll get your life together tomorrow. You'll become disciplined tomorrow. But tomorrow keeps turning into another night of staring at the ceiling, wondering what happened to you. And deep down, you start asking yourself the question you never wanted to hear in your own mind. Why does everyone else seem capable of living, while I'm barely functioning? The truth is, maybe you're not lazy. Maybe your mind is simply overwhelmed. Human beings were never designed to compare themselves to thousands of people every single day. But social media made that normal. Every swipe gives your brain another small hit of dopamine, and dopamine isn't happiness, it's anticipation. It's the constant craving for the next thing, the next notification, the next video, the next version of yourself you hope will finally feel enough. And slowly, without realizing it, you stop living your own life. You start watching everyone else live theirs instead. That's why so many people today feel disconnected from themselves, distracted all the time, unable to focus, emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, like their soul is constantly tired. And eventually, isolation begins. You reply less. You disappear from group chats. You avoid meeting friends. You stop explaining how you feel because you don't even know how to put it into words anymore. Not because you don't want love, but because you're terrified people will see how lost you really are. Psychologists call this social withdrawal, but honestly it just feels like quietly disappearing while the world keeps spinning without you. And what hurts the most is that this pain was never really about money or success. It's about feeling replaceable, forgettable, like everyone you once felt connected to, is building a life somewhere else while you're emotionally stranded in the same place. Your friends are moving on. Your ex found someone new. Your parents keep asking questions about your future. People your age seem so certain about who they are becoming. Meanwhile, you're still trying to survive your own thoughts. And maybe the saddest part is this: you are trying. People just can't see it. They can't see the mental battles, the overthinking. The nights you spend lying awake feeling like your life hasn't even truly begun yet. Human beings have a deep emotional need to feel seen, valued, and connected. So when you feel left behind, your brain quietly translates that feeling into something much darker. Maybe I'm not enough. And once that thought settles inside you long enough, emotional numbness begins to take over. Good news doesn't excite you anymore. Bad news barely shocks you anymore. Days blur together. You laugh sometimes, but it feels distant, like you're watching yourself exist from outside your own body. There's probably someone listening to this right now who understands exactly what that feels like. Maybe it's the guy who keeps saying, "I'll start over tomorrow," every night before bed. Maybe it's the girl who smiles in every Instagram photo but cries the second she's alone again. Maybe it's the person who looks completely fine on the outside while silently falling apart inside. Or maybe it's you. There was a 24-year-old guy who used to promise himself every night that tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow he'd finally fix his routine. Tomorrow he'd become productive. Tomorrow he'd stop wasting time. But then tomorrow came. He woke up late, opened his phone, saw someone from high school buying their dream car, saw another friend getting engaged, saw another person building a life he secretly wished he had. Then he locked his phone and stared at the ceiling in silence. Not crying, not angry, just empty. That night, his mom asked him if he was okay, and like always, he smiled softly and said, "Yeah, I'm fine." But later, sitting alone in the dark, he finally admitted something to himself that he had spent years avoiding. Maybe what scares me the most isn't failure. Maybe it's the fear that my life never truly started. And honestly, a lot of people are carrying that exact fear right now. Social media convinced us that if we haven't become successful young, we've somehow already lost. So people panic. They rush. They compare. They force themselves to keep moving, even when mentally and emotionally exhausted. But what nobody talks about is that many of the people who seem ahead of you are also lost in ways you can't see. They're just better at hiding it. Nobody posts the nights they cry alone. Nobody uploads their panic attacks. Nobody shares the fear of waking up years later and realizing they never became who they hoped to be. We're all comparing our behind the scenes to everybody else's highlight reels, and it's destroying us, quietly. Maybe the thing exhausting you most isn't life itself. Maybe it's the constant feeling that you're never enough for it. Not successful enough, not attractive enough, not productive enough, not healed enough, not special enough. But listen carefully. There are people all over the world right now sitting in dark rooms feeling exactly the same way you do. People who feel emotionally disconnected, people who are exhausted from overthinking, people who smile all day and collapse emotionally at night. We live in the most connected generation in history, yet somehow we've never felt lonelier. People know what you post, but they have no idea how badly you're hurting. And maybe right now, you truly feel like life is leaving you behind. But sometimes standing still isn't failure. Sometimes it's survival. Sometimes your soul is just exhausted from carrying too much for too long. You do not need to have your entire life figured out right now. You do not need to become successful before 25 to prove your worth. You do not need to move at someone else's speed to deserve love, peace, or a future. Some flowers bloom early, some bloom much later, but that never made them less beautiful. So if lately you've been feeling like you're falling behind in life, maybe what you need isn't more self-hatred. Maybe you just need rest, a slower morning, a deep breath, one night of real sleep, a moment where you stop comparing your real life to everybody else's edited version online. And please remember this, you are not behind. You are simply walking a different road. And honestly, the fact that you're still here after everything your mind has been carrying lately is already something to be proud of.